My snap-on ratchet of 15 years is finally crapped out. It's got a dead spot in it. So if I turn it, it starts working, but then it stops in a certain spot. It's got a dead spot in it. The thing is this thing's really simply put together. This thing just pushes in and then twists and it locks, and it has a planetary gear set in here. So I'll probably clean this stuff out because it's all kind of gritty. Looks like this is a brushed motor. I don't know how I'm gonna get new brushes for this thing, but it looks like two screws on the front to take that apart. This thing, I'm not too sure how to take this part apart, but that's the head, and then circuit board and the switch and everything is just like that. That's pretty much it. So pretty simple put together. So the only thing I'm gonna do is probably clean this stuff up because it's kind of gritty. Clean it up, and then I'm gonna grease everything up and see if that will do anything. If not, then I have to take this electric motor out and see if I can find brushes for it. I took a picture of the whatever this is. Maybe we can find it on Amazon or something, and I can replace this motor. All right, so cleaned up the gears. They look pretty good. Hardly any wear now. I think there's still some grease in there, but yeah, teeth looks good. The planet gears look good. So I've had this ratchet for over 15 years, and this is the first time I took it apart. I guess that's when back in the day when snap-on tools were good. Nowadays they just break left and right. So I think I'm gonna find myself a new motor. Maybe I'll find it on Amazon. I'll Google the part number off of this thing and then see who sells it. I don't know if that's gonna find me anything, but put a new motor in, re-grease everything. There's a hole in the back. I've never greased it through that hole. I've never greased this thing through that hole in the back of that ratchet, and it's lasted me 15 years. Plus Snap-on wants to sell you the tool to grease that thing, and it's a ridiculous amount of money. I just take the cover off, I just feed grease into the side, and that's all I do. But all this is good. Okay, so I just want to show you what kind of people are on the road when it's like -8 degrees. And there's ice and everything outside. You get people with tires that are on the wear bars. You know, there's like hardly any tread left, and I don't even know how they get around in this thing. And yeah, we get cars that got towed in for, you know, it only snowed for like 2 hours, and you know, 3 cars got towed in, cracked transmission case, bent subframe, bent control arm, blown out CV axles, a whole bunch of stuff. But I just brought this car in, and it's iced on the inside, not on the outside. That's how cold it is outside. Anyways, while I wait for parts department to get here, because you know they don't get here at 7:30, they come in at 8:30, and you know it's not even 8 o'clock yet, so I still gotta wait for parts. Anyways, I wasn't able to find that motor for the electric ratchet. Still doesn't work. See? It lights up, but it doesn't do anything. And I don't want to get another. The Snap-on guy just wants to sell me another one, so I don't know. I can trade that one in. But I tried looking online to try to find that electric motor, and I couldn't find it. And also, my 3/8, I like this one. This one's nice and light, but sometimes it doesn't work anymore. Like, see, there you go. It doesn't work. But it lasts me about 15 years, so I gotta get another one of those. So I've been using my coworkers' 3/8 ratchet, just trying them, and I find that this one was perfect for me. It's lightweight, it has a small head, and yeah, like getting into timing covers and everything, this was perfect. This one is I feel like it's kind of bulky, it's too big. Don't like how the head design is. And then this one you can bust bolts off with this, but it's still kind of heavy, so I didn't get that. I end up going with this guy. I went with this one, got myself another battery. Actually, it doesn't come with the battery, so I bought a battery. And yeah, so now I gotta find a good 3/8 electric gun. I probably go with the Milwaukee one, because some of the guys who've gone with the Snap-on, the new Snap-on 3/8 ratchet and the 3/8 gun, they broke on them, so they end up going with the Milwaukee anyways. And for the price, you can probably get 3 of these for the price of 1 of those. But anyways, if you guys want one, I'll put a link in the description. two of these 3/8 ratchets. Yeah, I tried looking online for that number on that motor, and it just brings me to a snap-on ratchet. I don't know. I guess they use it all in that same, all in those electric ratchets. But yeah, I really like this one because it's lightweight, skinny, and then yeah. So I guess I'm only left with the battery now. But this one, I like this one because it's lightweight and it's small, head small. It gets into small, tight places, and yeah, it's perfect. So that's what I got. So yeah, anyways, just a quick tool review. I've been using it for a while, just trying to figure out which one's the best to use, and I find it was this one. So link in the description if you guys want one, and give it a try yourself. Okay, so 5-year tool warranty. Let's open this thing up. So I got plenty of time because parts department's not even here yet. And you guys wonder, or actually some of you guys in the comments were saying, oh, parts should be open at the same time the dealership should be open. Well, yeah, I agree, but that's been the same since before I started here, from what all the guys here are saying. So yeah, just the bare tool. Yeah, nice and light. I like that. You know, movies where they're doing like quick reloads and go like bam. What? Hold on. There we go. Quick reload. Yep. That's it. Other than the bald tires, it's got a fuel pump recall, so fuel pumps on these Odysseys is pretty easy. You just got to remove the seat. You just got to fold it, right? And this seat should just like come right out. Let me just grab it out because I need both hands. All right, so pretty simple. They just hook into that, and then they just latch down onto here. So to get to this fuel pump, there's a secret hiding spot. You just got to pop this cover off. Let me just get my fingers down there. It's cold, so the plastics are nice and hard. Oh, it's already loose over there. That's off. Just gotta, as I was saying, they're just held in by like these clips that go into these holes here, and then these clips, and that's pretty much it. So you put that aside. There's a secret compartment here, right? Reveals your cover for your fuel pump. To prevent this from flapping around while I'm working, I like to tuck it under this this thing here. Move it over a little bit so it doesn't get in my way, and then we'll just remove this cover. So there you go. Cover's off. You can see you got this little big. This is for your evap. There's also another hose inside that you gotta remove and then plug off, because if you submerge it into the fuel, it goes right into your evap, and you can get a rich code or running misfires, because you know that's the purge valve sucks it all in. But it's worse on the Civic. Maybe I should do a video on the Civic fuel pump, but the fuel pump is a whole nother monster, I guess, because the tank on the back is angled upwards, and then the fuel pump is angled. So when the customer fills it completely full and you open it, all the fuel comes out. So you kind of have to tilt the front slightly up sometimes to prevent it from spilling. Because a lot of you in the comments were saying, hey, you know, my car smells like fuel. Well, I mean, in the Civic, just because how the fuel pump is designed, or the fuel tank is designed, it's curved, so it fills up to where the fuel pump is, and then when you crack the nut out, sometimes if it's over, like customer overfill it or something, it spills right out. But anyways, I am still waiting for parts because I still haven't gotten my fuel pump yet. I don't want to crack that open until I actually get my fuel pump. What's up? I was saying that this fuel pump on this one was pretty hard because I was doing it on a Odyssey. Here, now I can record you doing it.
Am I not speaking?
Oh, that's okay. Okay. And then there's two lines here. So you can't, these things don't move far enough for you to get that out, as you can see. So what you gotta do is lift it and then you rotate it to be able to get those lines out. And then the tank is kind of angled, so then if it's a full tank, you're gonna leak fuel out. And the hole's pretty small, so you can't really get the nut out easily. Something. All right. Okay. And here's the tricky part.
The trickier part.
Yeah. To be able to get the pump out, you gotta get that guy out.
Rotate.
Yeah. Push. Your fingers you need out.
And then one, two, there you go. Oh, the easy one. An easy one. I got my plug. Bye. So many things.
That's it, that's out. As I can, here, let me show you. It's hard to see, but this tank is angled. So when they fill it up to the top, right, and it reaches up here, you crack that nut open with the full tank, it spills completely out. So that thing, also when you bring it back in, you gotta fish that thing. You gotta drop that into the tank, and then that way you can get your fuel pump out. I always try to I always do the evap leak test after I put the O-ring in, but just because I don't trust it, because you can't really see that O-ring. Finally got my part. It's exactly 8:30, hour after my shift has started. So you just gotta disconnect this line. Sometimes it's pretty tight. Sometimes I think I need both hands for this. All right, for you people who are complaining about fuel smell after you do the fuel pump recall, there's no way around it. You're gonna get fuel smell. Like, I just disconnected the pressure line and it all completely soaked up in the rag. I just throw it outside the car. See, hardly any stuff leaked out of it, and you already get fuel smell in here anyways. So this line I just tucked behind there. It'll stay. And I go get myself the nut tool. Got the nut off. I'm gonna pull this guy up. Tuck that in there. And there's another line in there that we gotta disconnect. Morning. And that's that guy right here. So you gotta disconnect that. On the Civic is a lot harder. On the Civic, you can't get the fuel pump out unless you drop this line into the tank, and then once it's in the tank, you gotta make it go around the level sensor inside, and you need this guy with the line on it to maneuver it. So when you put it back in, when you put the fuel pump back in, it has to be in the tank. That line has to be in the tank, and you gotta fish it around the level sensor. And then once the fuel pump is in, you gotta pull that evap line back up past the fuel pump to be able to connect it back into there. So it's kind of, that Civic is a whole nother level. All right, so let me show you. So so there's that tool. So to get this fuel pump out, you gotta submerge it underneath there to get the fuel pump out, or you're not gonna be able to pull it. So you gotta actually submerge that and then fish it out later, and just hopefully you don't get any fuel in that line, because once you fill it, that goes right straight into your evap, and that just causes more issues. So let me get this fuel pump out, change the fuel pump, stick it back in, and yeah, that's it. But yeah, anyways, I'll probably link another video on how I did the fuel pump, because they're basically the same. I'll put a link in the description. You can go check that out.